What the hell, everything for Wednesday, April 14th, 2021. Up on the podcast, be talking to AV Wiz from Petoskey from Alpine Media Co. Dewan Jordan, talking to him coming up in just a little bit. Complaints coming into the BBC for the crazy amount of Prince Philip coverage. Sextile weirdos, UFOs confirmed again, and brand new 420 break. So, all coming up. What the hell, everything. What the hell, everything? Thanks again for joining the What the Hell Everything podcast. My name is Smitty. And before we talk to Dewan Jordan, AV Wiz Dewan Jordan, who I've wanted to get on the podcast for a long time, I want to talk about the 5-year plan some more and go a little more in depth. The 5-year plan is my bucket list trip that I'm trying to get funded. I have wanted to go to Ireland for years and years and years and go for a year-long hike tour of Ireland. Podcasting, all these old school pubs all across Ireland. And it's one of those things where it's probably... because I'm pretty spontaneous. I like to plan things out to a certain extent, just a certain little bit, but spontaneous too. Like, I love the idea of saying, you know, I'm right next to this ferry and I can just shoot across whatever channel this is and go to Scotland and then hike in Scotland. I could do the whole UK. I could hike over Europe. You never know. That's the beauty of this whole thing, is that I can kind of do whatever I want, but that's the main goal. I wanted to hike a year in Ireland, podcasting old school pubs, and I'm like, well, how am I going to fund that? That's why I have the Patreon page up now, $3 a month. Look for We Three Smiths on Patreon. If you can't find the link, I'll send it to you. I'm trying to make that a little more visible right now. But Heidi Silverhaired Fox, first patron on the Patreon page, actually called me earlier when I had the live recording going on Patreon, and she was like, why podcasting? Like, what made, like, and she follows me, and I think it was more of a rhetorical question, because I think she kind of knows I love doing this stuff. I love doing my show. I love having the freedom to kind of say whatever I want. It's not even a language thing. It's just, you know, obviously, I don't have to worry about the FCC now, but I also had to worry about, you know, if a sponsor heard it or got a complaint about something I said and a sponsor dropped. Like, those are real things and real issues. Why, you know, I don't want to be one of those people that's like, you won't let me say what I want to say, but I get my point across way better when I'm allowed to say fuck, when I'm allowed to talk about what I want to talk about. So the freedom to kind of just do my own show, and the realization that I can kind of just do whatever I want on this podcast, be it the What the Hell Everything. I love talking about social issues and politics a little bit more on the Six Packs on Mars podcast. Love having the long-form conversations on the We Three Smiths podcast. I do it with my brothers. Other podcasts, if you remember Ben Smacks, he wants to do some stuff. We're going to be doing some stuff with him, hopefully. And really, the Rock and Roll Roundtable coming back. That being said, I love this shit. But Heidi Silverhaired Fox also asked me, are you going to live on this $3 a month that that I gave you on Patreon? No, I do have an actual job. It's not a secret. I'll be bartending at the new Fresh Coast Beer Works in Traverse City. It's downtown, to be open a couple weeks, and I can't wait. It looks great in there. It is a real thing. It's actually happening. Ubrew Homebrew Supply Store as well. So I'll be bartending. I am just as happy bartending as I was doing a radio show. When I say that, I'm not joking. I love bartending and shooting the shit with people. When I was doing it before, and not on the radio, I was like, God, it's like doing a radio show. Just shooting the shit with all these people. So that's why what I'll be doing, and that's why I'm doing the podcast thing. And I just have wanted to build a successful podcast forever. And I thought that the 5-year plan with the Irish hiking tour being the end goal would be a fun way to hopefully fund it, and move to Montana after that and keep the podcast going in at least some form. So that is the 5-year plan. Patreon link on this description on YouTube. And of course, there's a crowdfunding GoFundMe as well, which sounds weird, but I'm like, if people want to contribute and they're not interested in Patreon and getting all the extra content that I'm doing on Patreon, then that's the way to support the 5-year plan as well. So the link for the crowdfunding, the GoFundMe, is here on the description as well. I was really stoked to be able to get a chat with DeJuan Jordan. Been wanting to get on the podcast, and finally got the chance. Are you in Petoskey? Is that where you're hailing from right now?
Yeah. Yep. Petoskey is where I'm at.
How you doing? It's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen you. I think it's been years ago. I think it was probably a couple years ago at a poker tournament at Odawa Casino in Petoskey. How you been, man?
Yeah. No, it has been a minute. Was I working at the casino when
I
you were
don't know.
there?
You were taking pictures or video. It was a poker tournament. Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay.
were working.
Okay. Was I in a suit? Because I know I was working for the casino at one point.
Maybe. I don't pay attention to what anybody wears, man.
That's fine. Yeah, no,
If
it's
you
been
were
a
in a
while.
suit, though, I would have noticed.
Yeah. Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
figured.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's been a while though. This must have been a couple of years.
How long have you been? Because I've been following you at least halfway for a couple years. I think we met. At the was that award show that Frankie put on? Is that where we
Uh,
met?
NMRAs.
The NMRAs? Is that where we
Yep,
met?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yep. It
Yeah.
it definitely was in the becoming human era when
Yeah.
yeah.
But I've been following you halfway since then, and I love people that are creative, and I love people that are follow their own vision, whatever it is. You know, I love people that are doing that shit, and you've been really cool to follow and really fun to follow, and just to kind of see you grow as an artist. It's been really fun to see. Uh, Talk about what you got going on. It's alpinemediaco.com, Alpine Media Company, hailing out of Petoskey. And I mean, I I think AV. I mean, does that sound about right? I mean, I don't want to. For some reason, I feel like when you say AV, it minimizes the person doing it for some reason. You know what I mean? And I don't know why I think that, but that's my first impression.
I get that. I mean, so I am a more of a visual than anything, but all of my stuff comes with audio.
Yeah.
So I have to learn. I have to be audio as well. So I am an audio visual technician, but you can call it like, there's a bunch of different things I do. There's a pretty vast group of things, and especially since COVID opened up, it has brought on new types of services that I haven't offered before in the video realm. So it's,
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
oh no, yeah, it's kind of hard to like put an exact finger on what it is that I do. All I know is that it's like new media, basically.
Now, how self-taught are you? Did you go to school for at least some of this?
Yeah, I went to NCMC here in Petoskey, actually, through a program called WACTEP in the Little Traverse Bay Bands of Odawa Indians scholarship thing that they had going on with NCMC. And they still do have it, but I don't know if it's the same art classes and things
What's it
like
called?
that.
What was it called again?
So this one was one of the classes was new media, and the other class was graphic design, and
Gotcha.
that's what I took as NCMC. And Morningstar, she is the one that got me introduced to video, and that was my first video one class was in the offices in Harbor Springs at the LTBB Government Center, because that's where they were holding the classes. And Morningstars, I don't know if you know Bear Creek Organic Farm up here in Petoskey.
Come to think of it, I don't.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, no clue.
cool,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
but I mean, I know Bear Creek. Wait, which Bear Creek? Is it Bear Creek by Manistee? Bear Creek? Or
No,
that's Bear Lake?
it's here in Petoskey. It's Atkins, like they're on Atkins. It's a
Okay.
local farm.
Yeah. No, so how long ago was that?
That was probably like, I would probably have to say like 6 years ago. It was like 5 or 6 years ago.
So in 6 years, it looks like you've really dedicated and took the time to build to grow your knowledge and build kind of your vision of what you want to do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely always knew that I wanted to edit. I figured that out way back when I was trying to edit music beats and things like that were just trash. I mean, the beats were so bad. I never put them out, but I just love sitting there for 8 hours, 10 hours, like barely eating. Had to like remember to do stuff. And I'm like, man, if I could do this for work, that would be sweet. So it really just became a hobby. And then I just,
How fucking fun is it to like just I don't know how many people would even like think it's fun just to edit video or even editing audio, which was my template for how I started. I really had to teach myself video editing, and I'm going baby steps. But there's not a lot of people that really understand the love of just like seriously zoned out to the point of where you, like you said, you have no idea what kind of time is passing. I've had whole days ago where I'm down here doing projects. It's crazy that you'll just love the process of watching it unfold and have some sort of finished product to be proud of,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Especially like when you're doing it and like you do something, you're like, oh, and then you're like, you keep going because you're like, okay, you know where this is going for like the next 5 hours now.
Yeah. So talk about what you have going on. There's not an app necessarily. It's just a strictly straight up website. Is that alpinemediaco.com?
Yep, it is a website. It does have majority of what I do on there. It needs to be updated because there have been some new things that I've done, that I've just brought up in conversation, where it's like interactive video is one of the things that I've been working on. And there's a company in Petoskey called the Great Lakes Chamber Orchestra. And they use this interactive video for their kids' videos. So you have one video and then the guy's like narrating. He talks about all these different things that you can do, and buttons pop up, and then you can select which one you want to go to. So it's kind of like a choose your destination type video thing, yeah, which is really fun, really cool.
What's that? I talked to you about this, I don't know, couple weeks ago anyway. It's on Roku. You can stream that channel. Are you doing like a how-to series? Is that what, I'm just trying to understand it because I haven't watched it yet. Mm-hmm. Is that like a how-to series of how to, I mean, please explain it because I have no fucking idea what it is apparently.
Okay, yeah, no, for sure. So it's really just behind the scenes. It's a 6-episode series of just projects that I've done. 6 of them I chose out of like a 3 to 4 month period. It's kind of supposed to be like a little just short. It feels like a YouTube thing because the longest one is like 20 something minutes, but the shortest one is like 7.5. So it's not meant to like take up your day. It's like a test run thing for somebody like me who's already working on clients, which is where my main focus is. But now, within the contract, that I got with the distributor for the channel, it's my job to create the behind the scenes things like that. And that's how I get my stuff distributed without taking on the cost of what it would be in order to do so.
So how is doing that sort of business in Northern Michigan, to me, historically, has always been a real struggle. It's not necessarily a hotbed of, video and audio editing. It's not a hotbed of activity in Northern Michigan. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily. So how is that growing that business in Northern Michigan? Because to me, it looks like you're doing more than most people. I mean, you're way more visible than I've seen anybody else.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. To my knowledge, that's how it was at one point as well. You know what I mean? But as time continues to go on, I feel like more opportunities are starting to come along, and Petoskey grows, and they start to catch up to like what's happening in other places in
Yeah.
certain areas. And that's kind of what's happening with the video aspect of things. And the only reason I would say Batasi was pushed forward by like 5 years because of COVID. And I think that that is the main reason that people started really making videos. And now that people are starting to be able to come back in numbers and things like that, to like events, things like that, they're still seeing the value in which they didn't before, as to where when you have, say, local performers that are performing for local stuff, those performers have to travel across state and spend all of this money in order for other people in other states to hear them, instead of you just hearing them where you hired them. Now, there's something nostalgic about that as well, but if you have a live stream happening at the same time, or even a recording that you can push out and show content, you know what I mean? I think that they're starting to understand that, like, okay, this is something that should be just as important as audio, you know, and lighting. I do want to talk a little bit about the festivals that have been going on.
Oh yeah.
The music festivals are like, in the live streaming, is like kind of like one of the most interesting things, because I've been basically using a mixture of Zoom and OBS, and, you know, people mailing in videos and things like that. And then just creating a full show. You know, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Earthwork Harvest Gathering at all.
I am, I think. Is that
Okay.
where is that?
That's down state. I think it's in the middle of the state, but you know Seth Bernard, don't you?
No, the name. No, yeah, because I thought it was in like Fife Lake or somewhere down Roscomp. I can't remember where. Anyway, yes, I've heard of it.
Yeah. So there's in Waters Life Festival, it like kind of caused me to like do some deep research and start connecting some things to where now it's like a full show. Like I did a 4-day thing where it's like 12 hours a day, you know what I mean? And there's videos being mailed from people all over the place. And that was cool, you know what I mean? And it like, it's just crazy to think that this would have never been bought on if it wasn't for COVID. Like before COVID, I was live streaming pay-per-view MMA in Grand Rapids with a company called Fight Films that I also own as well with Frankie. Yeah. And yeah, that, you know, and then it just kind of jumped it into this whole thing now, where now it becomes a complete show instead of just the show you're watching. You bring in other elements, and
when you brought that up briefly earlier, I meant to actually keep that going and talk about that. You 100% since the pandemic enabled this kind of thing to happen, and I don't know why promoters and like Ticketmaster and all these places didn't think of this shit before. Like, you could sell so many more tickets. You could sell and make so much more money just by live streaming the fucking show on top of selling it out. Why don't more people do this anyway?
Yeah, absolutely. And now it's just like that. Like I just did Hash Bash a couple weeks ago. Do you know about that?
Where was the Hash Bash at?
We did the live stream in Farmington Hills, but they still had the there were still people down at the Diag in Ann Arbor, and I actually patched in somebody from their phone down at the Diag into the main stream.
I know. I wasn't even sure they did the Hash Bash anymore. That's why I asked, because I heard about it for years, but ever since shit got legal, I haven't even remembered the Hash Bash happening once.
Man, I got videos mailed in from Megatron, Big Gretch. Yeah, you got like, you know, there's like, you know, a bunch more like NFL players, like, you know what I mean? Like a couple Major League Baseball players. Yeah, because this thing is like, it's a big thing. You know what I mean? It's like, like it was one of the reasons that started Michigan getting legalized, you know?
Trying to wrap that around some people's heads that just either don't like it, which I understand, and B, that just the don't understand it part is the part I don't understand. You know, the people that just don't understand it and just think it's still a bunch of dumb fucking stoners, they don't realize how mainstream it's getting. They don't realize it's huge. It's the future.
Hmm.
Honestly, it really hit a nerve when you said it pushed Petoskey forward 5 years because, uh, man, that's the running joke in Northern Michigan, is that consistently, and I'm going back to like my high school or my middle school years, in the '80s, where it was dude, it was 10 years easily behind tech, fashion wise or anything popular wise. It was 10 years behind, but now it's crazy what the internet does and a pandemic. How much busier have you gotten in the last year?
At one, like I was working, I had always been running a business, maybe grossing, you know, no more than $10,000 a year. I needed to have another job, you know what I mean? And as of now, I don't need to have another source of income just because I do have enough different sources in video. And I'm starting to realize that even though I have, enough people to work with that keep me afloat, if I really want to, really reach the next level, I had to start thinking about other ways to receive income as well, whether it be create things like Roku channel, behind the scenes stuff that gain, money over time, or sponsors, for things down the road, um, so there's just a lot of learning I have to do, on making myself someone that can, test products and sell them and things of all that nature, when it comes to doing this type of thing for what I do, you know what I mean? And then also just continuing. But
Explain real quick how to get on that Roku thing because at some point, because honestly, I was like, I had no idea. Not to say that you have no business getting a Roku channel, but up until now, I was like, I had no business getting a Roku channel, but fucking Dewan did, so probably I could. How easy is that?
well, so I have a distributor. Her name's Edna. She's her business out of Lansing. She contacted me to do a job for her last summer.
Yeah.
And she really liked it, and she started following me. She's like, I think you can do good on my platform, you know what I mean? So she sent the contract and we got it worked out. Now she's the person that runs all of that. She's a distributor. She does stuff all over America, and we have developed a relationship, you know what I mean, working together. I've helped her in other, projects that she works on that are part of my expertise, like online festivals. But I will explain that the way to get it is that it's not on the Roku channel. It's not on Prime Video. That's kind of where people get mixed up, because Prime Video and Roku channel stuff are funded things. So when you go in there and you look at them, like everything had a budget of some sort to do. So now this is what I'm doing is I have a distributor who has a network of her own that she pays for it to be on the Roku stick, the Amazon Fire TV stick, and the Apple TV box thing. And basically you go and you search for her network on these things, and then my stuff is on these channels on her network, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. I didn't know. Like, I was just like, that is amazing. I had no clue that was a thing. I was 100% impressed, and ever since then, I was just like, of course I got to get Dewan on the podcast.
Heck yeah, man. Definitely. We're doing Drunk Nature, too.
Yeah, I was going to talk to you about that. I had asked Brad, and I'm going to get with him at some point soon, to be on the podcast years ago, and he's always busy, so it was just another thing where I hadn't been able to schedule it with him again, especially. But now with fucking Zoom, dude, I finally realized all of the shit that I can do now, especially with Zoom, that just enables me to podcast whatever the fuck I want, whenever the fuck I want it. But have you and Brad on together for a podcast I thought would be fun. So if you wanted to do that, and I'll hit him up too, obviously, as well.
Yeah, that's funny. He's actually headed over here to do some editing. Within the next half hour, he'll show up and he'll help me do some editing because there's a couple projects. He's got one, I got one, but we both work.
I did see Drunk Nature the other day, and that was the first time I'd seen it in a bit. Did take time off from that at all? Because it'd been a minute since I saw one.
Yeah. It's been a minute. I mean, like at the beginning of COVID, we went and made a couple of little short ones, but we didn't really push to get them all done. You know what I mean? Like now there's some more. Now it's very much more clear as to the direction of where we're going with the stuff that's going on Roku. So it'll be fun, definitely.
Well, hey man, I appreciate you coming on. It's been fun talking to you, and I'm serious. Let's if you're down to do more, come on the podcast more. I'd love to have you on different ones and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I always enjoy the stuff that you do, and I'll keep following as well. And once Brad gets his thing going, we'll definitely get on there. It'll be awesome. Thank you for having me on.
Sounds good, man. Dewan Jordan from Alpine Media Co. Awesome. Keep it up and keep doing good work, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, man.
Yep. Take it easy. Thanks again to Dewan. Check out his website, alpinemediaco.com, and I'm sure you will be seeing him more on the podcast. Let's talk about the complaints into the BBC about the coverage of Prince Philip's death. And this is just another example, at least to me, of just the tabloid journalism has been a problem for a long time, but especially when it's the royal family. Like, I don't even know how it's big in the United States. I don't understand, and I see people on Facebook, some of my Facebook friends, and there's nothing against these people personally, but I just don't understand. I didn't even really know that Prince Philip was a thing. I didn't even know he was a real person until he died. I thought Queen Elizabeth was a bachelorette this whole time. Who would have thunk it? Does it make me not? Does it make me? It probably makes me ignorant that I didn't know that Prince Philip was an actual person. But it's like, I don't know, man. I'm an American and I don't live in a monarchy. Why would I follow that? That being said, 100,000 complaints about wall-to-wall coverage of Prince Philip's death. Man, the BBC is just as bad as CNN and Fox News and MSNBC and all of these other news organizations at this point. It's not like they're making stuff up, but it's just the way things are presented and the way things are shoving everything, what the hell everything, in your face all the time, and it's gross. You know what's also gross? This guy. I talked to him about him 2 or 3 times on the radio show. I'm talking about this quote-unquote bodybuilder. I don't know if that's his actual profession or if you can just tell that he works out, but he's in a throuple with sex dolls. He married a sex doll before it broke, and he hooked up with another sex doll. These are all stories going by memory. He hooked up with another sex doll when his wife's sex doll broke, because fuck that bitch. She's broke, apparently. He hooked up with another sex doll, and then another sex doll, so he's got threesome relationship going with these 2 sex dolls. And, look at this guy. Look at that guy. That's a real thing. These are real things. I don't understand. He looks so happy. It's not fucked up that much to say that person's crazy, right? That person's crazy. Some of the quotes in this story, the way he describes these women, he's a super fucking creep, clearly. Man, I don't even want to read these quotes. I don't even care that this is a podcast, but this guy's gross. Luna, I should probably read it in some Russian, because what is he? Yuri Talachko is he Ukrainian? Kazakhstan. So, Luna is so babe, so honey. I just want to hug her and not let her go. Is that German or Kazakhstan? P.S. By the way, I'm often asked how a doll differs from a living woman, in addition to the fact that my fucking accents all of a sudden suck. In addition to the fact that she can be in for a long time, different poses, and you can realize a variety of fantasies, she also has a unique pussy. Can't even believe I said those fucking words. Ew, gross, people. They eased lockdown restrictions in England, so there's big to-dos about England buzzing after their first night out in 97 days. They finally reopened bars and restaurants, and I think most of it is outside dining because they called it al fresco drinking and dining, so most of them are outside, hanging out on the pub terraces. But, dude, these people have been waiting so long to go out. I feel like they're being, is it melodramatic? To be out packed into the streets? I guess I get it. It's not like in northern Michigan, we didn't have bars and restaurants open for a little bit. But what was it, 97 days? I say it might have been too much, but I said about a month ago, I'm on record as saying that I'm going to have a hugest party of all time. I don't know if I'm going to host the hugest party of all time, especially not in my house. Brother Levi won't let that happen. But I'm going to do some kind of big-ass party. I want to do something. Do some live music or something. I hope it's not like England, though, because that just seems stupid to crowd out in the street for no reason. Let's look at this video that has been released and confirmed as genuine by the Pentagon. It's about UFOs, about maybe aliens, quote-unquote flying pyramids, which buzzed the USS Russell missile-carrying destroyer that was buzzed by this potential UFO, clearly UFO because it has not been identified. And when I say that the Pentagon said it was genuine, they only said that the video is genuine, not that they're not admitting that this object is aliens, okay? So let's take a look at this real quick. And it's like a night vision scope sort of video shot. You can see them. They're clearly triangles. It's clearly gnarly. Like you could say it's some sort of enemy Russian sort of craft, triangle-y like that I've never seen before. But the Navy doesn't, they for sure don't know what that is. 100% aliens, man. I assume those little flashes are infrared sonar, some sort of tracking system bouncing back. Not 100%, but I think that's what that is. All right, this story out of Tyrone, Pennsylvania, and I typically wouldn't focus on a story out of Tyrone, Pennsylvania, this small-time burglary, but raised a question because Tyrone man facing burglary charges. Police say he broke into a home and stole $700 in cash, bank cards, and various sex toys. And that's where the question comes in, you know? I feel bad for the woman that, doesn't even say woman. I'm assuming, way to assume, fuckface. No, whoever had their various sex toys stolen, like, why do you report that? You already reported the $700 in cash. You already reported the bank cards as stolen. Like, you know, the sex toys are an unnecessary embarrassment. Well, maybe that's just me, but I don't own sex toys. Ha ha. Or do I? No, I don't. Blount County, Florida. I didn't know this was Florida when I pulled the story, and all kinds of stories come from Florida. Blount County fraud for April 7th, 2021. I know it's a week or so after that, but it was interesting because I saw the headline, Blount County fraud for April 7th, 2021, and I'm like, there's an actual, like, did they set aside a page for just fraud stories? Apparently. In this case was a woman that tried to buy several gift cards with a counterfeit $1 million bill. And there's another counterfeit bill story in this fraud, Blount County fraud for April 7th. Another $100 counterfeit bill, this time not $1 million. That's crazy, but $1 million counterfeit's all right. If you think that you're going to buy anything with $1 million bill, even if you, first of all, would you really think it's real? Do you think there's a chance that somebody thought that bitch thought that $1 million counterfeit bill was real? Not one single chance. You thought it was going to work, and that makes you 100% stupid. And finally, before the 420 break, one more reason to get vaccinated. I did get signed up, hopefully soon, because, at least according to this story, if you're into this kind of thing, like studies, this study from where? I just saw it. The study was led by Emmanuel A. Giannini, a professor of endocrinology and medical sexology at the University of Rome Tor Vergata in Rome, Italy. And it suggests that erectile dysfunction, ED, can be both a short-term and long-term complication of COVID-19. So, get vaccinated. And look at the time. Time for your 420 break.
Should I be getting paid for this, boys? Water bomb's so smooth, you don't realize how high you're getting. Till it's too late. I am fucked up out here.
Why do I feel the need to talk about the shit I choose to talk about? When most of the stuff I talk about isn't really covered by any of the quote-unquote mainstream media. Like the story I prepped for this podcast about this bodybuilder that married a fucking sex doll. Actually, a fucking sex doll. A bodybuilder, by the way, who is way too comfortable with the amount of body hair. Gross. I mean, I'm all about being positive and liking your own self-image, but there is such a thing as grooming, you fucking weirdo. So why, now that I'm no longer hindered by the FCC and other censors and I can talk about anything I want, why do I choose to talk about dumb fucks that marry sex dolls? Because it's people like that that are gonna ruin us. Some things aren't okay no matter what they are. Like, is it okay that this guy marries a sex doll because he isn't hurting anybody? Like, yeah, probably specifically that guy isn't hurting anybody, but him, along with people like him, and just dumber and dumber people in general are really hurting us as people. It's not the politicians that are hurting us. It's the idiots all around us that put all the politicians you hate in office. Like, how the fuck are Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi still in office? Everybody fucking hates them, but they still get elected every year because they placate to a bunch of dummies every 4 years saying, duh, okay, I guess. All the dumb criminal stories, fucking Florida stories, fat guy news, insanely tabloid-like mainstream news dumbed down for people that already have their minds made up, people that have forgotten that innovation is what made America great in the first place. All that shit should get talked about more. And fucking aliens! Aliens for sure should be talked about more. Also, can I say how bummed out I was that the monoliths were a hoax? I was genuinely fucking excited about those. I was also really bummed out that I was excited about the monoliths in the first place. Fucking idiot. That is your 420 break, and now you feel normal. I feel normal, you feel normal, and we'll do it again soon on the YouTube pages, Mondays and Wednesdays, Facebook Friday nights, Facebook Live. We'll have guest co-hosts. We'll have phones going on the Facebook Friday Night Live as well. I think that's going to start about 7 o'clock this coming Friday. But I would love for you to join me for that. Hit up the Patreon page. You want to be a Patreon, all kinds of extra stuff on there, $3 a month. And the crowdfunding GoFundMe link on this YouTube page if you want to support the 5-year plan. Like, share, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. And thank you very much, guys. What the hell, everything? What the hell, everything?